This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact.
Motorsports and the military working together at this plant in Concord. I'm Jeff Sonnier. Stick around. We'll show you the next generation of battlefield-ready SUVs.
Plus, our region is the third hottest market in the country for home sales. We'll have tips for buyers. And how would you like to be a high school athletic director during COVID? We'll take you inside to see some of the difficult decisions being made to keep high school sports safe. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. It's NASCAR season again here in the Carolinas. Race fans heading back to the track after coronavirus kept the crowds away last year. But while fans focus on the finish line, the race car builders at GM and Hendrick Motorsports are sharing their NASCAR know-how with the U.S. military. Jeff Sonnier has more from Concord, where a tough new troop carrier is ready to roll off the assembly line.
Yeah, this building here in Concord is where General Motors was planning to do their racing research and development. But now those plans are changing, just like the sign outside the building, which now says GM Defense. Motorsports and the military now working together on a new project here, which actually starts with our fighting men and women up there. This is U.S. Army training video, high over Fort Bragg. The 82nd Airborne on board C-130s and C-17s. Altitude 1,250 feet above the jump zone for now, but
5, 4,
not
3,
for long.
2, 1, green light.
This is what these elite soldiers train for, and when they hit the ground, well, this is the elite new vehicle they've been asking for to transport them into battle.
They're going to be the first unit equipped with the ISVs. GM's going to be building the ISV itself right up the road in Concord, and then the first unit getting those ISVs for employment is the 82nd, just down at Fort Bragg. So it's a real neat Carolinas story.
We're on a Zoom call with Marshall Carlson, president of Hendrick Motorsports. The championship race team that's also part of the production team for the military's new Infantry Squad Vehicle, or ISV. Hendrick's high-tech, high-performance race car builders transferring their NASCAR knowledge from the track to the battlefield. How much of a stretch is that for your crews, or is there more of an overlap with building cup cars and building military vehicles than we actually realize?
We've got a very, very highly skilled workforce here. They were able to adapt to GM's design requirements, and there was a lot of crossover between building these race cars and building this ISV chassis to deliver the best for the soldiers who are going to be using them. And so we've taken really our best and brightest and put them on this project to create the highest quality product possible.
Hendrick is hand building the exoskeletons for those high-quality ISVs with the same high-strength, low-weight steel they use in NASCAR. These photos on the Hendrick Race Shop wall show the finished product. A modified for the military off-road Chevy pickup truck that will roll off GM's specially built ISV production line.
We had an existing facility there in Concord, about 75,000 square feet. So location, great. There's a great workforce there and extensive experience in developing race cars, high load, high risk environments.
GM Defense President Tim Herrick says high load, high risk also describes the battlefield conditions for the ISV.
Go, 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 go to the gun, let's go. Get your gear, go to the gun, let's go.
Which has to be big enough and tough enough and quick enough to get these training troops wherever they need to go.
It's light, agile, It's a all-terrain troop carrier. 9 soldiers fit in it. They can put their rucksacks up on top. They can carry their weaponry with them. Being able to rock crawl, being able to, go fast across various terrain. So instead of walking down range, they hop in our infantry squad vehicle and execute their mission.
And when one mission is over, the ISV is also small enough and light enough for the 82nd Airborne troops to take along on their next mission.
They can sling it under a Black Hawk helicopter or inside a Chinook helicopter. They can transport it.
This prototype vehicle rolled out of the shop in the fall of 1960.
The Charlotte area has a history of manufacturing for the military,
It was named Gamma Goat.
including these so-called Gamma Goat vehicles that were built for the military during Vietnam at what is now Camp North End in Charlotte. But that was then, and this is now. Motorsports and the military working together. It's a relationship that race fans feel every race weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A special relationship that the race teams feel too.
Always there's a presence of the military at the races. And so kind of culturally, there's a real gratitude and appreciation for that in our company. We're asking those folks to do some of the hardest work possibly that can be done in defending our country in faraway places. And really at the end of the day, they deserve the best this nation can provide them.
And while North Carolina's 82nd Airborne begins deploying those homegrown ISVs tested out at Fort Bragg and built right here at the GM Defense Plant in Concord, well, Hendrick Motorsports says there is one big difference between building for NASCAR and building for the military. No sheet metal to put a sponsor on, though.
There's not a lot of sheet metal on the ISV, but I think it's sponsored by all of us. And so we're really grateful again to be a part of the program.
Yeah, a program where the goal is still winning, but where performance is all about getting first to the front lines instead of to the finish line. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. That training video of the 82nd Airborne paratroopers was shot by the soldiers themselves at Fort Bragg. You can find out more about their new Concord-built troop carrier on our website at pbscharlotte.org. Well, if you're looking to buy a house in our area, there's a lot to consider. Interest rates are down, but housing prices continue to skyrocket. Charlotte ranks as the 3rd hottest housing market in the country. Carolina Impact's Sarah Colon-Harris breaks down what you need to know.
For longtime realtor Bobby Sisk, business is booming.
I personally had a record year.
The past year proving to be his highest selling year yet, despite the pandemic.
We thought when the pandemic hit, Sarah, that we were probably going to see a slowdown, and we did for probably a month or so. The month of March, the month of April of last year, and then really by May and June it picked back up.
And now in 2021, the real estate market even busier, making the hunt for a new home quite an endeavor for some.
It's competitive, and so we understand that, and we're not going to blow out our budget just to land something.
Michael Hopewell and his wife relocated to Charlotte from Southeast Asia shortly before the pandemic to be closer to family.
Before then, we could go see the other one that you mentioned.
It's their first time buying a home.
We don't really have much to compare it to, but based on the experience that we were expecting, it's definitely been a little bit more compressed in terms of the timeline for each individual house. With the amount of interest we're seeing in the houses that we're looking for, it means we have to make a decision pretty quickly, usually within 24 hours of seeing a house.
Chances are, if you're seeing one of these in your neighborhood, it may not last long. Charlotte is now ranking number 3 in the housing market. Here's why.
According to Realtor.com, Charlotte ranks nationally right behind Sacramento and San Jose. The median home price, nearly $370,000. many buyers from out of town.
You're competing maybe with 10 or 20 people who are moving from New York and LA and other places across the country who are coming here. So that, poised with a lack of inventory of homes and condos for sale, is what's leading to this kind of high demand and back into multiple offer situations, which is what we saw back when I covered real estate years ago in 2005 through 2007 or 8.
Sisk says Charlotte's cost of living attractive to people working from home, no longer bound to big city living.
The other thing that we've really seen is people who are in small spaces. They were either renting small spaces or living in small houses who are like, okay, not only are my wife and I or my husband and I home working, our kids are here right now too, and this is the time to make a transition while interest rates are so low to go ahead and kind of buy the dream house.
Mortgage lender Chantel Maddox recently moved from an apartment to her newly purchased home in Southwest Charlotte.
With this process, it actually took me about 31 days from start to finish.
That was quick. And you say that's because you knew going into it exactly what you wanted.
Absolutely. I think I looked at 4 houses total, and this house kind of just, when I came in, it just kind of took my breath away.
But she says not everyone is so lucky. The so-called seller's market creating bidding wars among anxious buyers.
I've seen people who have written letters that have included their kids, their dogs, what their house, the new house they're trying to purchase have meant to them.
To speed up the purchase process, Maddox recommends a few tips. To get started towards owning your next dream home, be sure to keep your credit in good standing, save for a down payment, pay all credit card payments on time, and avoid any new credit inquiries.
Anyone that is doing, going about trying to get a home, take a chance. It's worth it. It means a lot once you're able to do it. Because you feel so much better in your own space. It's not a hard process. Make sure that you talk and answer all the questions or ask all the questions that you need to.
Yeah, this was a whole edition on the back at some point. Okay.
For Michael and his wife, the search for the perfect home continues. In the meantime, they're hopeful their dream of becoming homeowners will soon become a reality. For Carolina Impact, I'm Sarah Colon Harris.
Thanks so much, Sarah. According to Realtor.com, millennials make up about 49% of buyers in our region. Well, to say that the last year has been unique would be an incredible understatement. The coronavirus has impacted everyone and everything around the globe, and that includes athletics. From game cancellations to playing in empty stadiums and in bubbles, it's been a trying year for sports teams everywhere. As Carolina Impact's Jason Terza shows us, competing in high school sports continues to be a real challenge for players, coaches, and perhaps most of all, school athletic directors.
No matter the high school sport, whether it be volleyball, football, basketball, or any other, it's been impacted in some way by COVID-19.
You kind of get tired of giving your community bad news.
Much like the rest of the world, interscholastic athletics has endured plenty of obstacles this school year.
I'd wear a bodysuit if I had to continue to play.
What most of us thought was going to be an inconvenience for a few weeks has instead turned into a full year of postponements, cancellations, and uncertainty.
Back in March when we went shelter in place, we thought it'd be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Boy, how we were wrong.
Never envisioned it would last this long.
Whether it's at Audrey Kell High School in Charlotte or Catawba Ridge High School in Fort Mill, high schools from both states have been doing all they can to keep playing. And it all starts with those COVID protocols.
Daily monitoring form. They have to be screened in. If there's a series of questions, symptoms checkers and things like that, always temperature checks.
And if you have symptoms, you stay home. You just don't come.
We take it very serious here. We got a great process. We check them in, we social distance, we keep the mask on, we sanitize, we do everything we need to do.
Once they get tested and they test positive, that's when we kind of take action. We notify the athletic director and the decision is made then. It's pretty cut and dry when it comes to whether a team needs to shut down. If anybody has been within 6 feet for greater than 15 minutes, cumulative, then that person has to be quarantined, and a lot of times that means the whole team.
Being in different states, Catawba Ridge and Audrey Kell are under different guidelines. set forth by state governments and local officials. In North Carolina, it's all masks all the time, during practice and in games, with players socially distancing on the sidelines.
And that's been a challenge for the kids to get used to. But what I tell them is the alternative is we don't play.
Another NCHSA protocol water station. Players can't just go to a water station and fill their own bottle. We have actually a volunteer assigned to that.
But across the border in South Carolina, it's a little more lenient and a little less restrictive.
Anytime they're stopped doing anything, we put the masks up. To talk, we put the masks up. But while they're playing, they're allowed to pull them down. And the coaching staff, we keep ours on all the time.
The most frustrating part of trying to play over the last year for players and coaches has been just that, trying to play, with multiple starts and stops, especially for the school's basketball teams.
We lost some games in early December, so you're prepared for a team, and then that team can't play, and then our district had to shut down around the middle of December, and we had just started to create some momentum for our team.
Lancaster High School and Indian Land, their whole school district shut them down till January 25th, so they were closed for 2 weeks. And then they come online, and that's the exact same time that York, us, and South Point, we had all played each other, and we had some positive cases amongst all three teams, so all three of us have had to shut down.
The last time it happened, it was like the morning of a game, and we had to shut it down, and it was really tough. But it is more gratifying when you know that you're doing the right thing and you're keeping kids and their families safe.
Those stops and starts have wreaked havoc for school athletic directors, who are constantly trying to reschedule canceled events.
Planning for the unknown is frustrating, is challenging. You try to keep the players and the parents and the community as informed as possible.
We have had so many Zoom meetings, and we joke, as we end the Zoom meetings, like, oh, we'll talk to you in a couple of days, because that's kind of what it's been.
Now, we did have to do 3 different schedules.
We tell them all the time, hey, this could be it. We never know how many more games we've got left, so we got to take each moment.
The major difference between the states is football, with North Carolina pushing its season back to this spring, while South Carolina played for the most part as scheduled in the fall, albeit with limited attendance.
Once you kind of got past there's only going to be so many fans in the stands, and lost a couple games. I mean, it was just playing football again. They get back, and we had a really good time doing it, and it was nice because there's some teams that weren't playing, there's some states that didn't play, so we knew that we were privileged to get a chance to do that.
With outdoor spring sports like softball, baseball, lacrosse, and tennis now upon us, and the COVID vaccine making the rounds, everyone is hoping the worst is now behind us. It's been a crazy, tumultuous year, with plenty of hurdles to get over, and everyone managing as best as they can.
But the guys have been really resilient this year. I think everybody would probably say that about their programs, because it's just been hard to, I know talking to my colleagues around the area, it's been hard on everybody. But I think the guys and the ladies that have been playing have really kind of, stepped up to that challenge.
If there's one positive to be taken from all this, the coaches say it's teaching the kids a valuable lesson. Life doesn't always go as planned, and you can never take things for granted, even playing games. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terses reporting.
Thanks so much, Jason. For many people, their morning ritual absolutely must include 1 or 2 cups of coffee. But this coffee club in Charlotte doesn't include coffee or caffeine. It's actually an ice skating class. One session may give you a jolt of energy that may surpass any cup of joe. Carolina Impact's Todd Wallace explains.
I grew up watching Nancy Kerrigan, Michelle Kwan, and I mean, those ladies were so lovely that they make anyone want to ice skate. You imagine that you're as graceful as they are.
So Mary Beth Campbell stopped dreaming and became a doer. Once her husband got out of the military, they decided to leave Texas.
And I said, hey, there's a rink in Charlotte. I mean, we didn't move to Charlotte just for that, but everything lined up. And I said, now that we have a rink 10 minutes away, can I do this?
That skating rink is Extreme Ice Center in Indian Trail. She signed up for a skating group at the center called the Coffee Club. But the way they burn calories, no caffeine is required because everyone here, from Mary Beth to Jennifer Lane, is doing their best to get better.
Maybe inadequate would be the word, but uncoordinated perhaps. But I'm just hoping that if I come enough times and keep at it, I'll get a little bit better every single time.
Coffee Club is a great group of adult skaters that just have that similar hope to get on the ice, and beginning skating, advanced skating, and just meeting people who have that common interest.
Jenny Gwynn has been a competitive figure skater and skated professionally, touring the country with Ice Capades. She's also met or knows some of the biggest names in the sport. This Detroit native is now a coach and director here at Extreme Ice Center. Still though, ice skating in Charlotte?
So in the summer, it is a great way to come in and cool off. And then not too cold in the winter months, not like up north. So it's a good way to taste the north without full-fledged getting into the snow.
It's a pretty cool job too, because Jenny's passion happens to be her profession.
This is my home away from home, and I love every minute I'm at the ice rink, and I am so blessed and fortunate to be able to have a job that's not really a job because it's something that I love.
Jenny says skating in the coffee club or anytime improves balance, fitness, and coordination. But most of all, Jenny loves that skating is really about helping people find their footing in life. To be bold, step out, even when the surface is a little slippery. I've hardly ever been on skates, but with Jenny's encouragement, I decided to give it a try.
For me, the first lesson will be learning how to stand, not skate. Trust me when I say this is an accomplishment. But Jenny says actually the first lesson is learning how to fall, because like in life, it's so important to know how to get back up.
Because we know we're gonna fall, that you need to get up and dust yourself off and keep moving into the next thing that's coming your way. And that makes us stronger as people.
Mary Beth Campbell had no idea how true those words would be.
Our daughter is special needs and has some medical issues, so a lot of athletics are hard for her. And ice skating, I mean, she has a hard time walking on regular ground sometimes and will trip and be clumsy, and she gets on the ice, and I mean, she has such joy.
And confidence.
And there will be kids here, and to see them treat her and normal, like she's not some special needs kid, and they all play together and play tag on the ice and chase after each other.
Now the entire family is involved, and everyone from Mary Beth's daughter Holly to her mom and dad are finding success through skating.
And it teaches you about perseverance, and then when you first nail it, I got it. I got it. I did that jump. Let me show everyone.
Jenny says Extreme Ice Center is determined that joy is the only thing that spreads around here. She says skating is a great activity, especially now.
People are looking for a sport that's been safe within our environment right now. And skating is providing that because we are able to spread out. We are able to work as groups, but individually, and maintain safety and social distancing.
During these tough times, it's been skating that gives Jenny and so many more something to smile about. She believes almost everyone should try it because just about anyone can do it.
So there is room for everybody at all ages and levels to learn to skate and to really chase your dreams that you might have had about what they might be on ice.
No excuses.
No excuses. If you can walk, you can skate.
After all, we can all enjoy moments like this. But the bigger lesson skating can give all of us is that to get back up after a fall, that's a win. For Carolina Impact, I'm Todd Wallace reporting.
Thanks so much, Todd. The Coffee Club is divided into 6 levels, from basic skating to more advanced skills. I miss ice skating. I used to do it all the time when I lived up north. Well, that's all the time we have for this evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We always appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
A production of PBS Charlotte.